Yo, what's up guys? We are back for Mayonaka Heart Tune, chapter 96. This chapter is a continuation of the school trip arc, and during this whole trip, it's been like, oh, no boys and girls are allowed to like talk together, and everything's kind of like segregated. But as you know, all of the girls have kind of been sneaking around trying to get Yamabuki's attention. And once all the girls kind of got a little time to shine, we moved to the night where all of the girls were supposed to go hang out outside and look at like the city lights, but they had to put a pause on that because Iko went and snuck out on her own to go deal with something, and that something was, I guess she had some bullies back in grade school. They found out about, her rising popularity, and they wanted to confront her. I'm not sure what about. I think they want to say sorry. I don't really know, but Iko's grown up. From the last chapter, what we've seen is that type of stuff isn't gonna bother her as much anymore because she's confident in herself now. But yeah, basically we're starting off this chapter with Iko and Yamabuki escaping these girls from the school because there were school guards at night and they found out that they were there. And yeah, Iko jumped out of the window, and that's where we leave off this chapter. Really, this was a good way to get Iko back into the story because it seemed like the other girls were getting a lot more time, especially recently. Last thing we got with Iko was her, the song that she made, and that kind of gave us a hint that, oh, she might be Apollo in the situation. But after the last few chapters in this arc, it seems like she doesn't really know too much about Apollo. Maybe she's just playing dumb. In her character, we can see she does know how to play dumb. She does know how to act like everything is fine and just seem completely normal. But yeah, right now, she's gotten over her fears, anxieties, talked to her past friends or bullies. Yamabuki's furious because everyone was super worried about her and they thought that, oh, she was gonna do something that she shouldn't have been doing or gotten hurt or something like that. But it turns out she was fine. Basically, she wanted to keep this whole bullying thing a secret from Yamabuki. The other girls did already know about it, like what was going on. But once they saw that Iko just up and vanished, they did feel like, oh, Yamabuki probably does need to know about this situation. But yeah, eventually the whole thing is done and they're off to the races, right? Iko and Yamabuki are now traveling. They're on like a little train and they're just taking a little stroll, right? They're just walking and talking. This is where Iko starts to confess her insecurities directly to Yamabuki, right? She's saying, oh, Rika probably already told you, but at first I chose VTubing not as a career, but as an escape. I didn't want to see anyone's face, nor did I want my face to be seen. However, I still wanted to shine like an idol. This kind of pessimistic thinking was the reason I started VTubing. Another reason was that my parents would be sad if I remained a shut-in forever. Are you going to berate me for my motive? And this is where Yamabuki says, no, all motives are equally valid. However, I know now that your strangely unambitious attitude back when I first joined the club was due to you having misgivings as a result of your less than sound motive. And this is where Iko goes and responds, saying, oh, you're so perceptive. And she also goes and says, after you joined the club, I started taking my dream more seriously. As I worked towards achieving it, I also realized how amazing VTubers truly are. The path I chose might have just been an escape route at first, but now I am really happy that I picked it. This is all thanks to you, Bucky. And yeah, right after this, we cut to Yamabuki. He's a little deadpanned, trying not to fold under pressure because lately that's what he's been doing, right? With all of the girls, he's been folding a little bit too much under pressure. So he's trying to avoid these like soppy conversations as much as possible. And yeah, they're basically just walking back to the whole group so they can enjoy the rest of the night together. Because as Yamabuki says, right, they're already breaking the rules, and sometimes that's what needs to be done to protect the people who you care most about. Right now, it's just him and Iko. Just a little bonding moment, and this is what all the girls wanted to do with Yamabuki by themselves, right? Kind of a fitting thing for it just to be Iko, because she was the one who was like, oh, I don't really want to go on the school trip. I don't really care for it. There's nothing there for me anyways. And all the other girls were like, oh, we really need to see this night view. It would be super awesome. It's super pretty. It's a super pretty view. All the girls want to do it and they want to see it except for Iko, right? And that's what's so fitting about her character in the end of this arc, right? I'm assuming that this is the end of the arc just because nothing else was kind of described on, hey, we're gonna be doing this in Kobe, like while we're here. The only big thing was the night view that we're gonna see, right? I was going on a tangent. I forgot really where I was at, but yeah, basically Iko, first girl to see the night sky with Yamabuki. The other girls are coming, and during this free time, this time that they have together, this is where Iko kind of pulls her cards, right? She pulls her strings a little bit, calls him by his first name and saying, are you angry at me? And Yamabuki's like, oh, you're being rather demure today. This isn't how you usually act. And right here we get a double spread, and then the last page of the chapter, which is Iko saying, Arisu, I love you, right? And then she goes and says it again, I love you. This, and of course, with all of the Mayonaka chapters, this one has a title as well, and the title is called Out of Pattern, right? Because this is not what Iko usually does. This is a very out of, I wouldn't say her comfort zone, but this is something that we would not usually expect from her character, right? So Iko, I don't know, I do like her character. I wouldn't say the most, I like Shinobu the most, just because, I don't know, I like Shinobu as a character, design-wise. But Iko, close second. I think, for me, Nene is last place. I just don't like her, personally. Tsundere is not my vibe, bro. But, man, I'm a little speechless here, because this is what all of the girls wanted, right? They wanted to have alone time with Yamabuki to see the night sky, right? That is exactly what they wanted. You know, they did all get pajamas, and they all went shopping or whatever for, like, specific pajamas with flower patterns. And out of pattern, just like, you know, just like the chapter title, Iko did not get, you know, the flower pattern as all the other girls. She didn't really go exactly with Yamabuki's. He didn't request it, but the girls were like, oh, what do you like? What do you like clothes wise? Like what colors and patterns you like? Iko did not go with that. She did her own thing. And because she did her own thing and went off on her own, she's now in this situation with Yamabuki. Off next chapter, what am I really expecting? I think the most likely thing that's gonna happen is the other girls, while she's saying this, are gonna like, you know, they're gonna eavesdrop on it, like they're gonna listen in, like they're just walking up and they hear this is like the last thing they hear, and then they go like wild about it. Because at this point in time, I think all the girls kind of know that they all like Yamabuki, and they all are kind of same situation as like basically every single other harem, you know, manga anime that's come out recently. They're all like, oh, we're all gonna work together, and we're also gonna stay friends, but only one of us can win. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm also getting here. But I think at least from the girls' perspective, they were like, oh yeah, whatever, Iko's just, you know, she's in it, but she's not really in it too. You know what I mean? Out of all the girls, she's probably the most personable, or like one-on-one, like the least talkative about her emotions with the other girls. She's more just with Yamabuki in that sense, and that's why she's a cool character. The other girls are like, they also are one-on-one, but not like Shinobu or Nene. Like, I would say Rika is maybe the most similar to Iko as a character in the way that they portray their love in the series. Shinobu's just out there. She's like, yeah, we're doing this. I want to see it with you. Nene kind of flip-flops a little bit, but it's more of just like, oh, she's angry or she's like in love, basically. And yeah, that's really the end of the chapter. I wouldn't say it was a short chapter, but a lot of it was just dialogue between Iko and Yamabuki, just about, you know, what was going on. You know, some of it kind of felt like a recap from the last chapter. I didn't cover the last chapter, but I would recommend going and reading it because it was like a little mini Iko arc, and I think it was pretty good. Overall, I thought the school trip was going to be a little more impactful in the story, but it just seemed like a way, oh, let's just pigeonhole Iko and give her like her time to shine, because she did get some time like at the beginning of the arc, but all the other girls like during the day were, you know, talking with Yamabuki, trying to go and find him, and Iko didn't really do that as much. So yeah, it's just a nice change of pace. Iko's a whole different character than the other characters in the story, and her design's really good. Not really too much else to say about this chapter. Mayonaka's good as always. It's just not as popular as some other series out right now, but I do really like it, so I'm gonna keep covering it because I think it's a good series. I think it's pretty good, pretty great. You know, I don't like harem all too much, but I feel like this is not done in a like an over-sexualized way. The other one I did like, or the other one I was reading that I haven't, well, it just finished actually, was The Goddesses of Cafe Terrace. That was good. I liked how it ended. It wasn't like super crazy. It wasn't like a, you know, a big explosion of events or emotions happening at the end. And I hope something similar happens for this series. The only difference is I hope that we can just still explore more of these characters, because I feel like these characters have a lot more to them that hasn't been covered yet. But yeah, that's really about it. I basically just yapped for a pretty long time. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this series, or anything else, or any recommendations really for things I should cover in the future down below in the comment section. And yeah, I'll see you.
I run away into the world with you. I'm not afraid. There's nothing